Welcome to the Switch Clicks Podcast, episode 98, recorded on August 23rd, 2022. In this episode, we'll be discussing the definition of remakes, remasters, and re-releases, as well as our favorite remakes, remasters, and re-releases. My name is Dakota, and today I'm joined by Tyler.
Hello.
And Nathan.
Hello. I'm back.
Huzzah.
August has been very, very dry, so we're going to talk about the definitions for remakes, remasters, and re-releases, and then afterwards we'll be telling you guys what our favorite remakes, remasters, and re-releases are.
This is gonna hurt.
Yeah, the definitions are always used kind of on top of each other. Re-releases could also just be a port, but also sometimes it's not. So...
They are all over the place. There's no actual industry standard, I don't think.
I think we're all on the same page for at least remakes and remasters, because I think that has the most definitive line.
Yeah, but I'm surprised. It surprises me that people still, use them interchangeably.
It's kind of hard to say. Like, before the podcast recording, we were talking about Pokken Tournament. That is a director's cut, and I would count that as a re-release.
Yeah, because nothing changed outside. Like, it's adding new content. It's not.
I think that's kind of where the lines are blurred. They do call it enhanced port sometimes, and that's like kind of right between remaster and a direct, re-release or port.
I don't know. I like to think of remasters as like there's at least a little bit of like a significant enough polish up on it. Like a re-release would be like Mario Kart 8, Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze, Pokken Tournament. I think.
Like pretty much anything that's like brought directly over, minor tweaks, whatnot.
I can't really think of a definitive remaster in my mind. Maybe you can argue
Ocarina of Time, 3D, easily.
Yeah.
Remaster.
Okay. Did they add anything new, or is it just that? Like it's just Ocarina of Time.
So basically, like they added like a boss gauntlet mode, and they changed the controls up to match the 3DS. But like the actual game engine itself and the physics are pretty much the same as the N64.
Okay. I think I'm on the same wavelength as you, Nathan. I think a remaster is a game that they don't change anything about the game other than maybe the controls and the graphics, and they don't add anything else. Now, a remake would be, hey, we're going to take the base of this game, we're going to use it in its advertising, and change a decent amount of it.
Yeah.
Kind of, what's the game? Final Fantasy VII Remake. Like, that is just a remake of the same game, but it's the gameplay is entirely different. It's barely an RPG. It's more of an action RPG, a la Xenoblade.
I think at that point, though, like even
it says Xenoblade, put it in the tags, get us views.
The first one, I guess Xenoblade 3D was kind of like a port, maybe, because it was on the new 3DS, and that kind of looked the same. But
yeah, that would be a port, re-release port. They're kind of in the same line.
With Definitive Edition, though, I think
that's at least a remaster.
Yeah, it's at least a remaster.
A significant visual upgrade.
It's the fact that it's a visual upgrade, but they also kind of used like a modified Xenoblade 2 engine, which kind of leans towards remake at the same time.
Well, we can use like Pokemon as an example. Like Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, I think is a remake, but Diamond and Pearl remakes are remasters.
Are you sure the remasters?
Pokemon is an entirely new bag, because I think like Oraz is a remake, and I'd argue Heart Gold and Soul Silver is also a remake. But like Fire Red and Leaf Green, I could see as being a remaster.
I think that's true because they don't add much; they just upgrade the graphics.
But the mechanics, like the engine, the whole style of the game, or at least the code, I'd assume, was taken from Ruby and Sapphire.
It is Ruby and Sapphire, so it has
it's not the source code for
held items, it has abilities, has the same engine. However, the game is specifically made you can't use any of the later Pokemon until the game's already beaten. So I could see it's still a remake, I guess, because it still uses a new engine. I guess visually it's just not as
Yeah.
much of an upgrade as
No, it's literally like the same
Emerald
thing.
to Horaz.
Yeah,
But
pretty
I
much.
do think because Diamond and Pearl is, I'm pretty sure, was kind of proven that it was like there was a good chunk of the game was literally just ported over code from the DS.
Yeah.
Makes it in the remaster territory because it's not even really compatible with any of the modern day games,
Yeah, it's
and
so
has
weird.
almost none of the conveniences of the modern day games.
Yeah. I guess that's kind of where the lines also blur. It's like they kind of have a mix of both something new and old.
So
Like from a
I guess
yeah,
all
I don't know,
Pokemon
I'm not a
remakes
designer.
from Gen 1, 2, and 3 are remakes, but Diamond and Pearl is essentially a remake.
Yeah, at that
I guess,
point it's really confusing. Like it's just like
do you count I think if you count Link's Awakening as a remaster, then Diamond and
oh
Pearl is a
boy.
remaster.
No, I count Link's Awakening as a remake because they built the game from the ground up.
Oh wait, no, that's true though, because Link's Awakening is a Game Boy game, and
Yes.
Diamond and Pearl is still a DS game, so there's still a significant
And they have to recode the entire
split.
game,
Hmm.
which from a development standpoint, automatically you'd probably assume it's a remake, whereas a remaster is just making improvements on pre-existing code.
I'm going to throw a
Okay.
wrench into this conversation,
Sure.
but have you seen the complicated way they're explaining The Last of Us Part 1 remaster slash remake slash whatever?
The heck? Oh my gosh. Yeah. I don't even get me started on that.
If if Kaiser was here, it'd be saying stop, but I'm going to continue it because it's also
Oh,
interesting.
well, that's
You're just
well. I mean,
lucky.
okay, that was technically his favorite game, like compared to
Yeah,
the sequel. But
but now
go
that we
ahead. Go
have,
ahead.
first of all, we had The Last of Us Remastered. Okay, it's a remastered game
Yeah,
because they just
It
updated the
looks
graphics.
visually,
Period.
yeah,
straightforward.
Now they
visual upgrade.
have The Last of Us Part 1, which they're just changing the name because there's a Part 2, might as well put Part 1 in the title. I get it,
Yeah.
marketing. But that's also a remaster, technically? They're not adding anything new. It's just
See,
another graphic upgrade.
see here, that's kind of where the whole term. Like, here's the thing with remakes, though, because I think there's a term that we're completely forgetting about, and this is where Final Fantasy VII Remake would fall into. Actually, they're known as reimaginings. So you're taking basically the same basic concepts of the original game, but then you're changing the entire gameplay in this new so-called remake.
What game other than Final Fantasy would fit into there? That feels like
Um,
there's not many, I don't think.
there's actually not that many games that would technically reimagine. There's some really niche ones out there, I'd say. Like there's that Forgotten Zelda game that was played in first person. Apparently, is a reimagining of the first Zelda game.
Oh, that's not like official. That's not a official release.
Nintendo made that though on
Oh,
a Saddle of
oh
You.
wait. Okay, never mind. I
um,
am okay. Sure.
another potential so-called reimagining. That's a tough one, actually.
Yeah, it feels like Final Fantasy is like the only real one.
Yeah, like it feels like it's one of the only real ones. I'm not sure what.
I guess you have to be pretty brave.
Yeah, you'd have to
Yeah.
be pretty brave to change up the whole base concept of the game. Whereas
There's games
most
like Crash Bandicoot, kinda, but that's still kind of
no,
keeps the
that's
same.
That's the same
that's
game with
remake.
just a significant like they did, I imagine, build it ground up. So it is a
Yeah,
remake, but it's the same essence.
yeah,
More
it
Crash
wouldn't be
Bandicoot.
reimagining because the whole idea is the whole base gameplay is kind of the same there.
If Crash
Ooh.
Bandicoot popped in and it was a first person shooter following the story
Yeah,
of the first Crash Bandicoot, then I guess that would be a reimagine.
What
same
about
idea with Spyro
yeah? What about Super Mario 64 DS?
remake. Actually, no, remaster.
Is that a
Okay,
remaster?
okay. So I guess here's the thing. Like the with remasters, I don't think you're necessarily limited to how much content you would add. It's more so the fact that whether you're using the same code or not.
Then in
And
that case, Are they actually? I guess I need to look it up.
There's no official term out there, at least as far as I know. Wikipedia just calls it remakes all the time. So
I'm not sure if 64DS and 64 use the same code.
yeah, it's a weird thing because I don't think anyone's really dove into that. Like the physics kind of feel the same, just with a D-pad versus a joystick.
I think it's a remake because I
Is
know
it a
like
remake?
if it was the same code, then all like or you would be able to port over like all the different ROM hacks of Mario 64 relatively easily into Mario 64 DS when like that has not really been done. Mario
Well,
64 DS is a
that
completely
is
other beast to get into, apparently.
that is a good point.
Yeah.
Although that would get into that would open a can of worms talking about hardware and software and how that works.
I'm just imagining, well, because like you can get ROMs of both by legal means. No one would ever illegally get a ROM, but
Legally dumping your own copy of the
yeah,
game, that's legal.
yeah, yeah. That's what I'm talking about when I said that. So like it's not that hard to get just at the game, but I think you'd see a lot more Mario DS mod. It had the same code as Mario 64,
Yeah, it wouldn't be the exact same code. No.
and I doubt it's the same engine. The games play very differently, like movement wise.
Well,
Or
I guess
like if
that's
you look at a
debatable.
speed run, I guess.
That's debatable. Like with speedrunning, like that's more of a patch.
You get
That's
a
something.
Mario 64 speedrunner in here who's dabbled in both.
The only problem was that 64 DS obviously was hindered by the D-pad, or if you use the touchscreen, then I don't know
That's
what the heck
true.
you were doing.
I mean, if you legally dump your own ROM and play it with an emulator, then
That's
remapping in personal experience, remapping the controls is actually pretty fluid.
I tried
Anyway,
it on the
that
3DS, but it didn't really do
yeah,
much because it still had the
3DS isn't
D-pad.
much better.
There's a jankiness in the D-pad. Um, but I guess 64 DS is kind of just like in that middle ground, in potentially speaking, because it's like a heavily modified engine, but it's like the same thing.
I think it's in the remake realm.
Is
I think
it?
it's closer to remake than it is remaster,
Potentially.
Yeah.
I mean, you could also just say half the game is a remaster, and the other half, the new stuff, is kind of a remake.
So what would be
depending
a
on
term?
how you play it?
I think
What would be
yeah,
the
it
term
all
for that?
depends. It all depends on if the game. Well, I think if Mario 64 DS is a remake, then there's a chance that like Majora's Mask for the 3DS and Ocarina of Time could also fall into that same category because I doubt it's just a new coat of paint.
It is just a new coat of paint, though.
It is a new coat of paint.
Oh, it's like the same everything.
Yeah, almost the same game, just minor tweaks here and there and added features. Well, yeah, it's obviously because they're going to modify it.
Yeah, they can modify it so you don't wrong warp to the end in the first 2 minutes.
There is still wrong warping, surprisingly, but
Of course.
and other interesting glitches, but that's.
Speaking of wrong warping, that brings me to SpongeBob Rehydrated. Mostly just because I wanted to bring it up. Did you know when the game first released, you could just click on there's a little more finesse to it, but you could essentially just click on the level that has the final boss and it would send you there.
Do you know when the game first came out, it was garbage?
I think I think it was still pretty well beloved. You could just wrong warp or you could exploit the game pretty easily to get you to the final boss immediately. I think they probably fixed it.
That's
but
what happens.
I'm imagining that I think that's
it is a remake. It's a remake because they made it
from the ground up. Yeah.
They remade it in Unreal Engine, just like they did with Spyro and Crash Bandicoot. It's completely different from the actual source game, which is why it would feel different in some ways. Here's a whole can of worms. What about Mario Party? Was it Superstars?
Huh?
Mario Party.
That could be a reimagining.
Here's the thing, though. Like, is it a reimagining? Is it a new game, or is it a?
I think it's that's like a new game. That's a new game with references to the original.
Would it be though? Because I think all the content in that game is like old content.
Is it not? I thought it had mini games
classic
from
words.
future games as
No,
well.
this was all previous mini games.
Well, like I meant because the stages are all from Mario Party 2, but I believe the mini games are from everywhere.
Yeah, but that's the case though. That's the situation though. Like, wouldn't that make it more of a? See, that's where the confusion.
That's why I
comes
think
in.
that's a new game. That's not
At a face level.
More of
Yeah,
a collection game.
collection
Or a
conglomerate
best
remake.
of. Yeah. It's kind of hard because some of the games have slightly changed, and like some of the graphics they're always gonna bump them up. That's almost like a pure remaster, and they're just collecting remasters.
Well, except
it's like you remastered Mario Party 2.
It wouldn't
and
be a
then
remaster though because they
took sections of that remaster and put it into a new game.
It wouldn't be a remaster though because they recoded the game from the.
Oh no, I'm saying they remastered Mario Party 2 and then cut up that remaster and put sections of it into a new game.
They
Like
put it into
parts of the game would be remastered. Like I think the maps are remastered versions of the Mario Party 2 map, but the whole game is a different thing.
I'm just hoping this conversation can be followed with the amount of re we say.
It's a new game in my mind.
I guess yeah. Let's just say it is a new game because I think that's what they're kind of going for, but at the same time, like
it's just an homage.
It's just exactly. It's a mess in a way. What are your favorite remakes / remasters / re-releases / reimagining / whatever the heck you want to call them?
Well, first I want to kind of say, have you guys played any remasters / remakes that you've played both versions?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Many of the remakes that I played, like, yeah, this is my favorite remake. It's because I didn't play the original.
Yeah, that's almost the same thing for me.
Well, okay. Well,
I guess that leaves me to be.
I played Diamond and Pearl before I played Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl.
I mean, that works.
And I think I played Emerald before I played Oraz.
That works too.
So that does technically count.
Did you play Red and Fire Red?
No. By the time Fire Red or Heart Gold, like Heart Gold was my first game, or Soul Silver. Okay. So
did you play Crystal, Gold, Silver?
I did not play. Well, I have played Crystal after I've played. I've played all the. I've played Red and I've played Fire Red, but I played Fire Red first. I played Heart Gold, Soul Silver, and Gold and Silver, but I played Heart Gold, Soul Silver first. So it's
How about you, Dakota? Anything?
Nothing comes to mind, which is weird because I've played The Last of Us Remastered. I played Spider-Man Remastered. I've played Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee.
True, I did play I've definitely played Fire Red Leaf Green before Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee.
I guess that kind of counts.
Well, it's more half counts, I guess.
That's practically a reimagining.
Did you play Yellow? Yellow?
Well, sorry, yeah, no. I didn't. I've only played Yellow. I have not played.
Let's Go.
Red. I haven't officially played Red and Blue.
You were gonna open up a whole can of worms talking about Yellow, Blue, Red.
I do own Pokemon Green. Yellow. I own most Pokemon, except for Gold, Silver, Crystal, Ruby, Sapphire, Red, Blue, Fire Red, Leaf Green.
Yeah, there's actually none that come to mind.
Really?
Which is weird.
Yeah, I guess sometimes like we just kind of realize that we've just been playing, newer games because the times that we grew up in, it's just not as it's like, somehow we're at that point where we just realized that we're nostalgic for games that were all altered or changed and updated.
Being nostalgic for remakes of an older game is very funny.
Well,
kind of at the time where they're not going to be remaking any recent games, and in 20 years the games aren't going to look any better. You could say.
Yeah, pretty much.
Excuse me, I can't wait to play Spider-Man PS4 in the metaverse. Thank you very much.
Or Cuphead in 4D.
Oh no!
Uh,
In terms of what I've played, let's see here. So I've played the Game Boy Color version of Link's Awakening. That's technically considered a port. And then I played the Switch remake because I hated the Game Boy version.
so which one was better?
Obviously, the Switch version because the Game Boy version, I don't
Really?
know how.
Hmm.
I don't like being limited to NES controls. Like I can live with that with the first Zelda game, but screw Link's Awakening. I can't survive that.
Also,
Um,
that game on the Game Boy is in like 2 or 3 tones, and it's hard to see different things.
yeah,
But when they remade it into the chibi, it looks so much better.
I honestly, that's honestly one of the reasons why I couldn't play it. Yeah, and I guess this kind of counts. Ocarina of Time. Although I played it for like maybe 5 seconds and then just dropped it because I didn't know what I was doing at the time. And then I kind of picked up the 3DS version and played it all the way through. Definitely tried to play the N64, but I kind of dropped it again because it was painfully slow.
Yeah.
I think Dakota, you can agree with me on that, especially. That game is just so slow unless you play the 3DS version.
Well,
Yeah.
unless you speedrun it, then it's really fast.
Well, okay, but you still got to make it through the slow text unless you do some
It's true.
crazy,
You do have to
crazy
make it through
glitches.
like 6 text boxes, and then you beat the game.
Yes. Um, the next remaster game I played was Twilight Princess. I played it first on the Wii. That was pretty much my first Zelda game, and then I played it on my Wii U. I actually bashed the remaster so much that I almost dropped it a rank on the play it by tier. Like it was actually bad to the point where it's just like,
Wait,
why
which one is
why does
this?
this upgrade even exist? Um, and then there was also actually no, not the Wind Waker. I only played the HD version of that.
Yeah.
What next? I don't think I've played any like versions of Pokemon between their originals and remakes. Surprisingly,
Are you not a shill? A dirty Pokemon shill like me?
no. Okay, I have like close to every mainline game, but it's either split between originals or remakes. It's the only one
Yeah.
I consider would be Fire Red and Red, but I've never actually touched Red, even though I own it.
You don't really want to. It's
Yeah,
not very.
I figured.
I mean, you can also beat that game in like 5 minutes. It's just
That's
really
true.
complicated.
Very true, but not touching that. Um, yeah, as far as remakes and remasters go, I haven't actually touched that much. Either like most of the games I've always played the modernized remastered versions instead.
Hmm. Yeah, it's funny. Like, I think I've played the Wii version of Xenoblade Chronicles, and
Yeah.
I never picked up the remake because I was like, well, I already spent like a way too much money on this on a used game store. I'm not buying the remake. And
I can
it's
understand that.
funny, like, yeah, I don't think I will because
No,
as much as
no,
the
no.
Wii version doesn't look very good, it's still manageable.
Yeah. Potentially big game.
And I think weirdly, it's funny to say like, what's my favorite remaster or remake or re-release?
Hmm.
Most of the time, like my favorite ones would be Heart Gold Soul Silver
Yeah.
because that was the first. It was like the first version of the game I played, and I liked it. Like this essentially just comes down to what are your favorite games that just so happen to be a remaster, which for me ends up being Heart Gold Soul Silver, and then the Batman Arkham Asylum and Batman Arkham City, which got remasters for the
Oh, I
Xbox
see.
360.
Um,
Uh-oh.
uh-oh. Skyward Sword? It
Oh
barely
yeah.
counts? I don't know why. Here's the thing, people called it a port because they literally kept almost everything about the game the same, other than a few quality of life improvements and the frame rates.
What are you talking about? Those fancy graphics are worth $20.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'll pay like a full $80 Canadian to play the same game.
versus
What's-
the
just-
$60
just with the food.
Canadian retail value that it originally sold at.
Yeah,
Ooh.
exactly.
Those fancy graphics were really worth it, huh?
Yes, very, very worth it. Yeah, there's actually surprisingly nothing significantly different.
So here we've uncovered the fact that no one wants you to know. The fact that remasters and re-releases are not worth your money. Only wait for remakes.
Yeah, only remakes. Only remakes.
Unless you played the remaster first, then you might as well play that one.
Yeah, you might as well just stick with the remaster. Don't
So
go
if you're
back.
going to play a game that has a remaster, play the remaster. But if you've already played a remaster or a re-release before it was remastered or re-released, who cares?
Thank you for joining us and discussing the definition of remakes, remasters, and re-releases, as well as our favorite remakes, remasters, and re-releases. We'd love it if you could follow us on Twitter and listen to future episodes on Spotify and iTunes. Join our community Discord server to continue today's discussion, and we'll see you next time on the Switch Clicks podcast.